If I am elected, it will be the policy of my administration, United States of America, to keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future. This will serve in effect as the core of the strategic national Bitcoin stockpile.
So there you have it. Trump promising to be the most pro-crypto candidate ever. And the price of Bitcoin, well, it's reflecting that, continuing its run up after hitting several all-time highs throughout the week. Analysts still believe it could hit 100,000 by Thanksgiving. Kevin O'Leary just said it could be by the end of the year. Joining me now, Anthony Pompliano, professional capital management founder and CEO. It's always great to have you. So you think in the first 30 days, one of the first things he should do is establish this strategic reserve?
If you're an economic actor, you would buy the Bitcoin and then tell everyone that you bought it. You wouldn't tell everyone you're going to buy it and then let everyone else go buy it before you, right?
That's true.
The problem is that when you're campaigning, you got to tell people why they should elect you. What is your plan? And so he's already let the cat out of the bag that he's going to go buy Bitcoin. And so it's important that we do it because other countries right now are buying. We know El Salvador is buying. They have a public website that literally shows how much they're buying every day. We know the country of Bhutan has $1 billion of Bitcoin on their balance sheet. There are other countries who have not yet announced they're buying as well. If the United States wants to be the leader, they have to go buy Bitcoin.
Wait, are you worried though, like El Salvador and Bhutan, with all due respect to them, they're not like major economies in the world. Do we really get concerned that they're stockpiling and we're not?
If they keep doing this and we don't, they will be major economies in the world. And I think that's the big thing is this asset is so asymmetric. If it continues to compound at any degree of annual return, it will end up being billions and billions of dollars on their balance sheet. The United States, we have a deficit. We have national debt that's growing. We're heading in the wrong direction. Those countries are heading in the right direction. And so we need to take a lesson out of their book.
I took a lesson from Michael Saylor over at MicroStrategy. What was it, 5, 10 years ago when he was buying Bitcoin with cash from the company and putting it on the balance sheet of the company. And I think at the time, people really gave him a lot of heat for it. And he's now laughing us all to the bank. Is that what Pennsylvania is thinking of doing?
If the national government is going to do this, every single local government and state government is also going to do this. And so my message, if you work inside of a government, if you work at the local, state, or federal level, go put at least 1% in Bitcoin. You have to get off zero. You're sitting with cash, which is guaranteed to lose value. That is taxpayer money that is sitting there. If you want to protect it, which is part of your fiduciary duty, sitting in 100% cash is the wrong answer. And people always point and they say, oh, let's buy bonds. Bonds are guaranteed to lose money. Go talk to the best investors in the world. They don't own fixed income because it cannot keep up with the rate in inflation.
Ouch.
So you have to drop bonds.
That was just a knife in Taylor's heart.
You just killed me. I love bonds, and I'm silent now. I'm dead.
That was. You have no idea how much fun we're going to have with that little statement right there. Okay, but let me just go into this a little deeper because you kind of represent like this new movement. We're looking at these cabinet picks. A lot of young people, a lot of millennials, a lot of energy around new financial instruments. No to bonds, yes to crypto. But man, that space, and this is your word, it's so volatile. And I think there's a younger generation that embraces that volatility, but are we ignoring some of the risk we haven't seen grow up with this new thing yet? I mean, how do you respond to the old guard that says you're young and you're optimistic, but you don't know quite what you're talking about?
I think that this new generation is the volatility generation. When they see volatility, they run towards it. They don't run away from it. But they know something that many other people have forgotten. They used to know it when they were younger, but they've forgotten. The risk you take is the return you get paid. And so in a world where dollars are guaranteed to lose value, 50% of Americans don't own investments. They're just sitting paycheck to paycheck, losing purchasing power. You have to go and outperform inflation. Inflation is not 2.6%. The BLS can't count. Because they're using physical people walking into supermarkets, manually inputting the inflation data. And so if inflation is higher than that, how are you going to outperform inflation? You have to go find volatile assets.
What's the utility? Well, so just remind me, right? It's not a payment. I don't go to Domino's Pizza and pay with Bitcoin. It's a store of value. So do I think of Bitcoin as like a gold or dollar as a safe haven? What is the utility?
Gold today is a $17 trillion asset. Bitcoin is about 1.7 trillion. So it's only 10% of the gold market cap. There is not an example that I can think of where the digital product is not larger than the analog product. My expectation is that Bitcoin is much, much larger than gold over time. It's not going to happen overnight.
So a store of value. I don't use Bitcoin to buy something yet.
use case of Bitcoin for simply storing value is the single most important use case in the world. There's 8 billion people in the world that are told, hold a fiat currency, and then we as a central bank are going to devalue that away. It's stealing from the people. And so now there's a piece of technology that's going to protect them from that theft and allow them, if you work hard, think about small business owners or individuals in this country. They go to work every single day. They work really, really hard for that economic value. They go and they put it in the bank, and somebody silently takes that value from them.
Whoa.
Now they don't have to worry about that.
That's a serious problem. Just in the last minute that we have left, we're hearing a lot about two names being floated for Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent and Howard Lutnick. I hear a lot more about Bessent than I hear about Lutnick right now, but I like Lutnick a lot. Make your case.
I sat down with Howard Lutnick, did a 2-hour interview with him. He's the real deal. He's smart. He works hard. He's a family man. He went through 9/11 and probably one of the most epic business stories ever. He lost over 650 of his employees and he came back. The Treasury Secretary is the CFO of the United States government. Ever since Alexander Hamilton was named as the first Treasury Secretary, that person has been in charge of helping the U.S. manage its finances and make money. Howard Lutnick is a very wealthy man as well. He's been incredibly good at making money for himself and for his firm. I think putting somebody like that into that role would do a very good job for the United States government.
Amazing. It's really interesting to see how this is all panning out. Do you have any other thoughts with respect to some of these picks and some of these choices? Because they've been controversial, but at the end of the day, we've got to move forward. And Trump is trying to pick people who will take us forward, whether it's, in the Treasury or beyond.
The other situation that I'm looking at is home affordability is the worst it's been in 40 years in the United States. The HUD secretary is still not picked yet. My friend Bill Pulte comes from a family of the home builders. I tend to think that he'd do a fantastic job because understanding that we need to build more supply in this country to get homes to be more affordable is a pretty important thing. And so let's go put people in positions that have been successful business people who have industry knowledge, put them in a position, get out of their way, and let them do what they know to do.
And maybe buy them with Bitcoin one day.
I mean, that's what it certainly sounds
Not
like.
bonds. Definitely not bonds. You don't make any money on bonds.
Double stab. Mean.
So many stabs.
Anthony, thank you. Good to see you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.